Such is the cross I wear upon my breast.
Yet I have the murmurs of its friends no less than the curses of its foes for my rewards.
Destined finally to go out into that dirty gray turmoil, to follow love and pride.
And see the honor, the happiness, and the hopes of this beloved country.
That, like all legends, belongs to my own past.
I sit with Shakespeare, and he winces not. Across the color line, I move arm in arm with Balzac and Dumas, where smiling men and welcoming women glide in gilded halls. From out the caves of evening that swing between the strong-limbed earth and the tracery of the stars, I summon Aristotle and Aurelius, and what soul I will, and they come, all graciously, with no scorn nor condescension. So wed with truth, I dwell above the veil. W.E.B. Du Bois, The Souls of Black Folk, 1903.
This is America sitting for its literary portrait. The uniformity and the authority of the volumes in the Library of America almost look like stones that have made up a sort of portal entrance with American literature written over the entrance. They seem so steady and so much of a common effort, when in fact, each one of those books was more or less written by a loner. I think American writers are a very determined, narrow-eyed lot, filled with great souls and not many social gifts. So it's made an image of America as a culture of extremes and possibilities.
I don't think Americans as a whole really yet appreciate what an accomplishment American writing is, the ways in which it is unique among the literatures of the world.
One of the functions of the Library of America is to look beyond the tides of taste and to see what the actual nature of American literature has been. In Longfellow's case, he was the most beloved and widely read poet in America. He was a crucial poet, it seemed to me, because he created characters that gave American readers a sense of its own past. Longfellow fell out of favor almost entirely, as other poets have and will. When this book came out, one of the nicest things is that it prompted reevaluations and discussions, and it was the Library of America volume that helped begin shift the view of Longfellow around.
I'm not sure if there's another nation that is quite as strongly grounded on words as America, but I think that's partly because America's founding was so deliberate. I mean, the American founding, at least the creation of the national government, was literally a moment in which people sat down in a room and said, okay, we want to really create a fair representative government. How do we do that? It was so deliberate and so much built on compromise and so different from the way in which most countries are formed. And of course, that process of compromise and debate was all about words, whatever they were saying to each other and then whatever they actually managed to put down on the paper. So I think the founding itself makes Americans feel differently about language and things on paper.
One of the most important aspects of the canon as defined by the Library of America is that it embraces the rich variety of the American tradition in all of its dimensions, gay and straight, black and white, male and female, without sacrificing standards, and that's important. Never does the Library of America say, we're including these texts because of diversity, for self-esteem reasons, to be ethnic cheerleaders. We are including them because they are exemplary parts of the great tradition of American literature.
My real first book was The Great Gatsby in the 10th grade at Palisades High School. Mr. Drury's Period 5 English class, in fact. It was the moment where the light bulb really went on for me. And at that time, I was also reading a lot about the life of Fitzgerald. And I had an amazing experience in which I saw how an author's life got translated into his art. It was a very exciting moment for me. And by the time I got to the end of that book, So We Beat On, Boats Against the Current, Borne Back Ceaselessly into the Past, I was a goner. That was it. And Fitzgerald became my primary passion, and American literature became my general passion up to this day.
One of the real hallmarks of the series to me is that it's open-minded about what American literature is. It includes the obvious suspects, clearly, but it also includes a kind of creative, living sense of the country's literature as a sort of living testament to its culture.
I think it's easy to look at American writings and look at the founders and their writings on this side and put great literature on this side. And I actually think that's a mistake, because I think all of those things together are the American voice. And you can't understand the literary side of the American voice without also getting some sense of the national and political aspirations and ideas that are sort of flowing underneath the nation as a whole. And I think when you put all of that together, then you really get the American character, the American voice, in all of its complexity, with all of its different modes and uses.
There is nothing more wonderful than actually holding a book in your hand, because it is a really private experience. And I think it is not just visual, it is genuinely tactile.
I smell a book before I even look at it. I've done that since I was a child. It's as if you're coming into a room that is both familiar and strange, somebody else's kitchen, as it were, where things are being made. The production values of these books, I mean, the quality of the paper, the beauty of the print, layouts of pages, the ribbon. The Library of America has done everything it can to make it as sensual, austerely sensual, as possible. Out of the bosom of the air, out of the cloud folds of her garments shaken, over the woodlands brown and bare, over the harvest fields forsaken, silent and soft and slow descends the snow. Even as our cloudy fancies take suddenly shape.
If ever there was a time when all of us, the American people and others, needed to be reminded of what our country was about, how it began, and what it is, and what kind of literary content we have, what kind of poetry we've had written, we would all understand that this is a country worth caring about in an absolute sense, not just for ourselves, but for our children, for our grandchildren, in my case, for great-grandchildren.